So I have a quick ignorant question. How does the property get maintained if there is no money?
I guess that goes to me, right? I get that. So I will say that the direction that I received was that all future operational costs should be funded out of the MSBU. Now, we're talking specifically for the park piece, not for the ELAN piece, because the
Sure.
ELAN piece has a budgeted program and responds to that.
And
I will inquire, since we missed the assessment, I will inquire as to how we can do some type of mowing like we did initially. But that was the last direction I received.
So,
And I'm just gonna say, so I manage, almost a $22 million budget, and you might all think, well, Keith, that's a lot of money, that's a tremendous amount of money. But we also have a tremendous amount of operational, expenses and recurring expenses, so it gets very, very tight to move money around to maintain properties that are not budgeted or planned. So that moving into this fiscal year, the plan was, the MSBU was to cover the operational costs of the property.
And yet
Which
we
don't
missed-
have an assessment.
and yet we missed the deadline for the tax.
So I think, so because of that, I will see what I can do to make a request. No guarantees. Definitely not probably going to be able to maintain it to the standard I think the community wants to see moving forward, which is why I'm so hung up on getting the budget and the assessment worked out for the first year, because we can't really afford to miss it next time.
Oh, absolutely.
Could we, Keith, on that note, a simple bush hogging back there,
Yes.
not mowing, not making it fairways like it was 15 years ago,
Whack it.
but a simple bush hogging, because that grass is high enough that it's difficult to walk into it now. Now, with the rain we've had, it makes it difficult to get back there with any kind of equipment.
Yes.
So, but the sooner that could be resolved, because there are actually trees now growing.
I'm not promising to do anything.
I understand. Promise to inquire,
It's
that's,
an option to take a loan or add on to, we were originally going to pay for it anyway this year.
Yeah.
Right.
To add on to next year, to double the amount for the first year next year to cover current year.
That's something that could be discussed.
I was along the same lines. I was thinking, can we borrow from the MSBU for the short term and repay it back through assessments?
I think the answer to that is yes. I think that you would want to make sure that whatever you're proposing is consistent ultimately with the objectives of the park and what the community wants to see.
But the MSDU doesn't have any funds.
Will they have for their portion?
future funds.
It would-
Or against the future fund?
It's been done on other projects. I mean, I think it's not a new concept. So,
And either we let it grow or we try to take care of it with some kind of future funds currently or.
I mean, the argument on that could be that if you continue to let it, grow, that the actual initial cost to take care of it is going to be higher. So you could actually be saving money by putting something in place now.
And then, I think, like could we assemble a volunteer workshop to contribute to
We
that?
get that a lot. And so, I think I brought this up in the first meeting, until really we feel that the property is maintained and it's a safe environment in terms of walking and all that, I would highly recommend against that. Removing Brazilian pepper, doing little cleanup workshops is one thing, but we're definitely not gonna have volunteers on equipment, mowing county property. It's a lot, I don't think I would get risk assessment from someone on that, so. Not to say that, the average homeowner doesn't know how to run a piece of lawn, this would, that's, obviously, that's they know how to do that.
So is there some way that, because the public is like shaking our tree, wondering when it's gonna be mowed. So I think that's one of the transparent things we need to kind of let the public know what they can expect.
Yes. I can have an answer at the next meeting on the
because we're definitely behind the 8 ball with no money and then no mowing, and it's like,
And is it,
I just
I think it was Mitch Gobernick that brought up the point, we're not gonna have money until 2024.
right.
Okay, it will be a jungle back there. It's already
Well,
close to
age
that.
to it.
Is that you, Mitch? Yeah, thank you.
Is that the Elaine?
It's an excellent point. We have to do something in the next 3 months, not 2.5 years.
Fair enough.
No, not the ELAM, just we're just talking about our 25 acres.
In response to the comment, I mean, both really need to be maintained. I mean, there's no question, but the level of maintenance will differ, and I have been very clear on this throughout this entire project history, that there will be a different standard between the two types of properties. Quite honestly, because, I think, Frank, I mean, you mentioned, you can't even get equipment in some portions of the property, which is mostly the ELAM portion, so,
Not true,
not true,
not true.
not true, well,
Onto my property. I can't run my tractor on my property because of the low-lying area behind my house.
well, okay, so.
So, I mean,
You're
it's,
even saying, yeah, you're even proving my point even
Yeah.
beyond the ELAM stuff.
yeah.
so,
Oh, yeah, no, it's in the MSBU portion,
Yeah,
trust
they
me.
both need to be maintained, they just will be maintained at different standards.
Yeah, we're not really ever gonna be concerned with the ELAMP in our decisions or on, other than it overflowing the lakes and whatever.
Yeah, and that's the other issue, is we need to have the drainage issue taken care of before we do anything.
Yeah.
So,
That's
that's
usually our ELAM's property, so we shouldn't bother with that at all anyway.
Well, it affects our property, you know, our whole property is wet right now.
Yeah,
You
we
know,
don't,
so-
we don't view the drainage problem as a park, ELAM, I mean, it's a parcel issue.
Yeah.
You know, we're not saying, well, that's an ELAM problem, or it's a parcel issue that needs to be addressed. And from what I understand, I think Public Works is looking into that. We probably need to follow up with Public Works to make sure we know what their plan is.
Good point.
Want to move on to, motion to move on to annual assessment?
yeah,
Please.
Motion to move on to annual.
second,
You want me to cover that?
yes.
So I'm not gonna speak much on the annual assessment, other than what that deadline is to get the annual assessment onto the trim,
And what is it?
July 15th. So, but then July 15th.
Of next year?
Next year. So July 15th, next year, that's the deadline to get it to the board, but you have to get that in, you have to submit that paperwork to the board at least 3 weeks before July 15th, so you're looking at closer to beginning of June.
End of May.
Build the budget.
Now,
Yeah. So build that budget, and then we can submit it in 60 days? Okay, so not, it's May. So 60 days to get that into the board document. That is May. You need to put the budget in May.
So we have to come up with a number for the assessment?
So you have a minimum number, which is the payback. So that's, what is that, 67?
And we'll be 2 years behind.
67 for 5 years,
5 years.
at 3.5% interest.
You got it. Per NSDU, so that's just the payback. portion.
Right, no
And then
improvement.
it's maintenance.
Right, and 35 for the main, or whatever the difference is, 33 for the,
If you want to move that jumbo, right? So
Right.
that was the recommendation, I think 28 million per year.
I have to tell you the group that number was put together like in 2015.
Right.
So I would suggest that, did we already bring back the maintenance costs?
That was process.
And what was, do we know what an annual cost is on that?
I have in front of me, the recommended annual cost of 35.
So is that higher than the original assessment that we had? I think it is a little bit. So, the bottom line is, the mowing contract that we currently have is not obviously the same price as it was back in 2016, whenever we started this project. So, that's probably something that we need to really focus on, and I don't mean the improvement piece, but I mean the actual general maintenance and upkeep of the property in general. So that's probably a more detailed discussion that we need to have with the committee, the next meeting. Or maybe not the next meeting, but in future meetings, as we tie the budget for this assessment.
Does that get bid out to different contractors? Do we get to bid that out, or does the county bid that out, or does the county?
So no, we would use the existing county contract, and if that contract, for whatever reason, if they didn't have the capacity, so we're tied to the county procurement, okay? So,
Right.
so would the MSBU also be tied to the county procurement. And I would tell you from experience that unless you want to wait 18 to 24 months on a new contract, the quickest way to get a cost, and the quickest way to get something under contract, you need to use the existing contracts. So, which are obviously renewed every, I don't know what the NDL contract is for mowing, but it's renewed, there's a cycle, sometimes it's 3 or 5 years.
So that they have an option to rebid.
So we can rebid it, we can bid it out to our own contractors, correct? Am I correct?
No.
Why?
No.
That's not what we were told last time we were here, we were told we
I've
could.
been in error. So, as I understand it, the county staff will administer the MSBU budget as well as the actual contracts. To my knowledge, we don't typically do that in another, we don't typically, now, I think if the advisory board wasn't happy with the cost and they wanted us to pursue some contract, yeah, I think we can do that. I don't think that would be an issue. And I probably need to talk to the purchasing director about that, but again, I caution you, RFP, the request for proposal process and the contract process is extremely lengthy. Because we have to follow the rules. So, to be clear, I get that if we present a budget and you all are like, oh my God, that budget is pathetic, right? And I'm like, well, this is what we have under contract. If you want to go out underneath a different spec to see if you can get a different quote, we can do that, but you will follow the county process. It will not be the community that's doing that. It'll be the county staff.
But we still don't have a clue what is ELAM and what is our part.
Well, we're going to get to that eventually. Not tonight, but we're going to get to that.
Thank you.
Good question.
How do we get the grant?
We don't know which property. We don't know
Are we
which
going to read the annual
the
assessment?
water main.
Is this discussion done? Anybody else have a comment?
So the August 30 maintenance and capital improvement estimates, those were current estimates, right? Okay. So, and then, all right. So just to be clear, so we're going to pay off, we're going to come up with a budget for our debt, we're going to come up with a budget to maintain it. That won't include any improvements. So if we want a walking park, and we want crushed shell, if we want a dog park, if we want those things, I'm just saying that's not what we're doing.
No.
We're just going to figure out step 1 and step 2. Right. Okay, great.
Yes, that's our recommendation.
Okay.
We're free to move to item 4.
So I just want to understand then, we have the mowing here and we know what the cost of the debt service is. What else are we waiting for the annual assessment at this point?